Chapter 11. And Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty brave one, but he was the son of a whore. And Gilead brought forth Jephthah. And the wife of Gilead bore sons. And when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah out, and said to him, You shall not have an inheritance in the house of our father, for you are the son of another woman. And Jephthah fled from his brothers, and dwelt in the land of Tob. And worthless men banded together with Jephthah, and went out with him. And it came to be, after some time later, that the children of Ammon fought against Israel. And it came to be, when the children of Ammon fought against Israel, that the elders of Gilead went to bring Jephthah out of the land of Tob. And they said to Jephthah, Come, and you shall be our commander, and let us fight against the children of Ammon. But Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, Did you not hate me, and drive me from my father's house? Why have you come to me now, when you are in trouble? And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, That is the reason we have turned to you, that you shall go with us, and fight against the children of Ammon, and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. And Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, If you take me back home to fight against the children of Ammon, and Yahuwah gives them to me, am I to be your head? And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, Yahuwah is witness between us, if we do not do according to your words. Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people set him over them as head and commander. And Jephthah spoke all his words before Yahuwah in Mitzpah. And Jephthah sent messengers to the sovereign of the children of Ammon, saying, What is between you and me, that you have come to fight against me in my land? And the sovereign of the children of Ammon said to the messengers of Jephthah, Because Israel took my land when they came up out of Mitzrayim from the Arnon as far as the Yabok, and to the Yarden, and now give back those lands in peace. But Jephthah again sent messengers to the sovereign of the children of Ammon, and said to him, This is what Jephthah said, Israel did not take the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. For when they came up from Mitzrayim, and Israel walked through the wilderness as far as the Sea of Reeds, and came to Kadesh, then Israel sent messengers to the sovereign of Edom, saying, Please let me pass over through your land. But the sovereign of Edom would not listen, and they also sent to the sovereign of Moab, but he refused, so Israel stayed at Kadesh. Then they went through the wilderness and around the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came to the east side of the land of Moab, and encamped beyond the Arnon. But they did not enter the border of Moab, for Arnon was the border of Moab. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, sovereign of Heshbon, and Israel said to him, Please let us pass over through your land into our place. But Sihon did not trust Israel to pass over his border, and Sihon gathered all his people together, and they encamped in Yahatz and fought against Israel. And Yahuwah Elohim of Israel gave Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they struck them. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites and the inhabitants of that land. Thus they took possession of all the border of the Amorites, from Arnon to the Yabok, from the wilderness to the Yarden. And now Yahuwah Elohim of Israel has driven out the Amorites from before his people Israel. Should you then possess it? Whatever Kamash your mighty one gives you to possess, do you not possess it? And all that which Yahuwah Elohim takes possession of before us, we possess. And now are you any better than Balak son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab? Did he ever strike against Israel? Did he ever fight against them? Well, Israel dwelt in Heshbon and its villages, and in Aroer and its villages, and in all the cities along the banks of the Arnon, for 300 years. Why did you not recover them within that time? So I have not sinned against you, but you are doing me evil by fighting against me. Let Yahuwah the judge today between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon. But the sovereign of the children of Ammon did not listen to the words which Jephthah sent him. And the spirit of Yahuwah came upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh, and passed through Mitzpeh of Gilead. And from Mitzpeh of Gilead he passed on toward the children of Ammon. And Jephthah made a vow to Yahuwah, and said, If you give the children of Ammon into my hands, then it shall be that whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall belong to Yahuwah, and I shall offer it up as an ascending offering. Jephthah then passed on toward the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahuwah gave them into his hands. And he struck them from Aroer as far as Minnith, 20 cities, into Abel Keramim, with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were humbled before the children of Israel. And Jephthah came to his house at Mitzpah, and saw his daughter coming out to meet him with timbrels and dancing. Now except for her he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to be, when he saw her, that he tore his garments and said, O my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you are among those who trouble me. And I have given my word to Yahuwah, and I am unable to turn back. And she said to him, My father, if you have given your word to Yahuwah, do to me according what has gone out of your mouth, because Yahuwah has taken vengeance for you upon your enemies, the children of Ammon. And she said to her father, Let this be done for me. Let me alone for 2 new moons, and let me go and wander on the mountains, and bewail my maidenhood, my friends and I. Then he said, Go. And he sent her away for 2 new moons, and she went with her friends, and bewailed her maidenhood on the mountains. And it came to be at the end of 2 new moons that she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed, and she knew no man. And it became a statute in Israel, that the daughters of Israel went every year for 4 days to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite. Chapter 12. And the men of Ephraim gathered together and passed over towards Siphon, and said to Jephthah, Why did you pass over to fight against the children of Ammon, and did not call us to go with you? We are going to burn your house over you with fire. And Jephthah said to them, My people and I were in a great struggle with the children of Ammon, and when I called you, you did not save me out of their hands. And I saw that you would not save me. Then I took my life in my hands and went over against the children of Ammon. And Yahuwah gave them into my hand. And why have you come up to me today to fight against me? Jephthah then gathered together all the men of Gilead and fought against Ephraim. And the men of Gilead struck Ephraim, because they had said, You Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim in the midst of Ephraim, in the midst of Manasseh. And Gilead captured the fords of the Jordan that faced Ephraim. And it came to be, when the fugitives from Ephraim said, Let me pass over, the men of Gilead said to him, You are an Ephraimite. If he said no, then he would say to him, Please say, Shibboleth. And he would say, Sibboleth, for he was unable to pronounce it right. Then they seized him and slew him at the fords of the Jordan. And at that time there fell 42,000 Ephraimites. And Jephthah ruled Israel 6 years. And Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. And after him Ibsah of Bethlehem ruled Israel. And he came to have 30 sons and 30 daughters. He sent abroad and brought in 30 daughters for his sons, and he ruled Israel 7 years. And Ibsah died and was buried at Bethlehem. And after him Elon the Zebulunite ruled Israel, and he ruled Israel 10 years. And Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried at Elion in the land of Zebulun. And after him Abdon, son of Hillel, the Parathonite, ruled Israel. And he had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 young donkeys, and he ruled Israel 8 years. And Abdon, son of Hillel, the Parathonite, died and was buried in the Parathon in the land of Ephraim, in the mountains of the Amalekites. Chapter 13. And again the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, so Yahuwah gave them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. And there was a certain man from Sora, of the clan of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and had not borne. And a messenger of Yahuwah appeared to the woman and said to her, See now, you are barren and have not borne, but you shall conceive, and you shall bear a son. And now, please guard, and do not drink wine or strong drink, and do not eat any unclean food. For look, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and let no razor come upon his head, for the youth is a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb on, and he shall begin to save Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. And the woman came and spoke to her husband, saying, A man of Elohim came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of a messenger of Elohim, very awesome. But I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not declare to me his name. And he said to me, See, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and now drink no wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean food, for the youth is a Nazarite to Elohim from the womb to the day of his death. And Manoah prayed to Yahuwah and said, O Yahuwah, please let the man of Elohim you sent come to us again and teach us what to do for the youth who is to be born. And Elohim listened to the voice of Manoah, and the messenger of Elohim came to the woman again, as she was sitting in the field, but Manoah her husband was not with her. And the woman ran hurriedly and informed her husband, and said to him, See, he has appeared to me, the man who came to me the other day. And Manoah arose, and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said to him, Are you the man who spoke to this woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Now let your words come true. What is to be the rule for the youth's life, life and his work. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to Manoah, Let the woman guard all that I said to her. Let her not eat any food that comes from the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, or eat any unclean food. Let her guard all which I have commanded her. And Manoah said to the messenger of Yahuwah, Please let us detain you, and prepare a young goat for you. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to Manoah, Though you detain me, I do not eat your food. But if you offer an ascending offering, offer it to Yahuwah. For Manoah did not know he was a messenger of Yahuwah. Then Manoah said to the messenger of Yahuwah, What is your name? When your words come true, then we shall esteem you. And the messenger of Yahuwah said to him, Why do you ask my name, since it is wondrous? And Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering, and offered it upon a rock to Yahuwah. And he did wondrously, while Manoah and his wife looked on. And it came to be, as the flame went up towards the heavens from the slaughter place, that the messenger of Yahuwah went up in the flame of the slaughter place. And Manoah and his wife were watching, and they fell on their faces to the ground. And the messenger of Yahuwah did not appear any more to Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was a messenger of Yahuwah. And Manoah said to his wife, We shall certainly die, because we have seen Elohim. But his wife said to him, If Yahuwah had been pleased to put us to death, he would have. He would not have accepted an ascending offering and a grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all this, nor would he have let us hear the like of this. So the woman bore a son, and called his name Shimson. And the child grew, and Yahuwah blessed him. And the spirit of Yahuwah began to move him at Makkenah Dan, between Zoar and Eshtaol. Chapter 14. And Shimson went down to Timnah, and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. And he went up and informed his father and mother, saying, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines, and now take her for me for a wife. But his father and mother said to him, Is there no woman among the daughters of your brothers, or among all my people, that you should take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? And Shimson said to his father, Take her for me, for she is pleasing in my eyes. However, his father and mother did not know that it was of Yahuwah, that he was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines were ruling over Israel. Then Shimson went down to Timnah with his father and mother, and came to the vineyards of Timnah, and saw a young lion roaring as it met him. And the spirit of Yahuwah came mightily upon him, and he tore it apart as the tearing apart of a young goat, with knot in his hand. But he did not make known to his father or his mother what he had done. And he went down and spoke to the woman, and she pleased Shimson well. And when he returned later to take her, he turned aside to look at the carcass of the lion, and saw a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took some of it in his hands, and went along eating. And he came to his father and mother, and gave them, and they ate. But he did not make known to them that he took the honey out of the carcass of a lion. So his father went down to the woman, and Shimson gave a feast there, for young men used to do so. And it came to be, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Shimson said to them, Please let me put forth a riddle to you. If you clearly solve and explain it to me within 7 days of the feast, then I shall give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of garments. But if you are unable to explain it to me, then you shall give me 30 linen shirts and 30 changes of garments. And they said to him, Put forth your riddle, and let us hear it. And he said to them, Out of the eater came forth food, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And for 3 days they were unable to explain the riddle. And it came to be on the 7th day that they said to Shimson's wife, Entice your husband to explain the riddle to us, or else we burn you and your father's house with fire. Have you invited us in order to take what is ours? Is it not? And Shimson's wife wept before him and said, You only hate me and do not love me. You have put forth a riddle to the sons of my people, but you have not explained it to me. And he said to her, Look, I have not explained it to my father or my mother, and should I explain it to you? And she had wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to be on the 7th day that he informed her, because she pressed him so much. She then explained the riddle to the sons of her people. And the men of the city said to him on the 7th day before the sun went down, What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said to them, If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle. Then the spirit of Yahuwah came upon him mightily, and he went down to Ashkelon, and struck 30 of their men, stripped them, and gave the changes of garments to those who had explained the riddle. And his displeasure burned, and he went back up to his father's house. And Shimson's wife was given to his companion, who had been his friend. Chapter 15. And it came to be after some time, in the days of the wheat harvest, that Shimshon visited his wife with a young goat. And he said, "Let me go in to my wife into her room." But her father would not permit him to go in. And her father said, "Indeed, I thought that you hated her intensely, so I gave her to your companion. Is not her younger sister better than she? Please, take her instead." And Shimshon said to them, "This time I am blameless regarding the Philistines, if I do evil to them." And Shimshon went and caught 300 foxes, and took torches, and turned them tail to tail, and put a torch between each pair of tails, and set the torches on fire, and sent them into the standing grain of the Philistines, and burned up both the shocks and the standing grain, even the vineyards and olive trees. And the Philistines said, "Who did this?" And they answered, "Shimshon, the son-in-law of the Timonite, because he took away his wife and gave her to his companion." Then the Philistines went up and burned her and her father with fire. And Shimshon said to them, "Though you do this, yet I shall take revenge on you, and after that I cease." And he struck them hip and thigh, a great slaughter, and went down and dwelt in the cleft of the rock of Etam. And the Philistines went up and encamped in Yehudah, and spread out against Lechi. And the men of Yehudah said, "Why have you come up against us?" And they answered, "We have come up to bind Shimshon, to do to him as he has done to us." Then 3,000 men of Yehudah went down to the cleft of the rock of Etam, and said to Shimshon, "Do you not know that the Philistines are rulers over us? Why have you done this to us?" And he said to them, "As they did to me, so I did to them." And they said to him, "We have come down to bind you, to give you into the hand of the Philistines." And Shimshon said to them, "Swear to me not to fall on me yourselves." And they spoke to him, saying, "No, but we are certainly going to bind you, and shall give you into their hand, but certainly not kill you." So they bound him with 2 new ropes, and brought him up from the rock. When he came to Lechi, the Philistines came shouting to meet him, and the spirit of Yahuwah came mightily upon him, and the ropes that were on his arms became like flax that is burned with fire, and his bonds broke loose from his hands. And he found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, and put out his hand, and took it, and struck 1,000 men with it. And Shimshon said, "With the jawbone of a donkey, 1 heap, 2 heaps. With the jawbone of a donkey I have stricken 1,000 men." And it came to be, when he had ended speaking, that he threw the jawbone from his hand, and called that place Ramath Lechi. And he became very thirsty, and cried out to Yahuwah, and said, "You have given this great deliverance by the hands of your servant. And now, am I to die of thirst, and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised?" And Elohim split the hollow place that is in Lechi, and water came out. And he drank, and his spirit came back, and he revived. So he called its name En Hakore, which is in Lechi to this day. And he ruled Israel 20 years in the days of the Philistines.